On the news, Nigeria repatriates citizens stranded in UK as global COVID-19 toll nears 4 million. Supreme Court annuls conviction of former Abia State Governor Ojuzo Kalu. And Georgia police arraigns killers of Ahmad Aubrey. Many thanks for joining us on News Now. I am Fidelia Aguncha. More Nigerians are returning home as the COVID-19 pandemic worsens across the globe. An unconfirmed number of citizens on Friday arrived the country from the United Kingdom. The returnees who were brought back on a British Airways flight arrived at Murtala Mohammed International Airport at about 1:45 p.m. Confirming their arrival, the Nigerian Diaspora Commission (NIDCOM) said the returnees will be taken to Abuja, where they will be quarantined for 14 days before being allowed to leave for their destinations. 2 days ago, the Nigerian government repatriated 256 Nigerians from the United Arab Emirates after they showed interest to be brought back home. Minister of Foreign Affairs Geoffrey Onyema had earlier in the week revealed that more than 4,000 Nigerians across the world have signaled interest to be evacuated home. Meanwhile, the Nigerian government has asked Nigerians abroad intending to be repatriated into the country not to make any remittance to private accounts. Minister of Foreign Affairs Geoffrey Onyema, who gave the warning during the presidential task force briefing in Abuja, said some fraudsters are posing as officials of the Nigerian government in a bid to defraud unsuspecting persons. He said intending evacuees would pay flight fees directly to the account of airlines designated for their evacuation. The minister refuted reports that Nigerians in India were asked to pay their airfares to certain private accounts. Onyema, however, said passengers on the flight expected from the UK paid to an agency in London because the flight was arranged with the assistance of the British government and it wanted the High Commissioner to be directly responsible. Following daily reports of strange deaths across the state, Jigawa State Governor Muhammad Abubakar has set up a 5-man committee to probe the remote cause of the fatalities. The State Commissioner for Health and Chairman of the COVID-19 Task Force, Abba Zakari, announced the latest development. He says the committee will also feature representatives of the World Health Organization, WHO, as members and will submit their reports and recommendations in 3 days. According to officials in the state, over 100 people, mostly of old age, died within the last 10 days, while several others suffered series of illness ranging from high fever, headache, cough, and catarrh. Lagos may record between 90,000 and 120,000 positive cases of the novel coronavirus by July or August when the state reaches its peak. This is according to Akin Abayomi, the State Commissioner for Health. Abayomi also revealed that the state is set to begin chloroquine trials in about a week. Speaking at a news conference in Alausa on Friday, the commissioner said Lagos had not reached its peak yet. He said the increase being recorded was as a result of decentralization of sample collections to the 20 local government areas in Lagos. He adds that if the government had not put machinery in place, the situation would have been worse. Lagos currently has close to 2,000 confirmed COVID-19 cases, while the country as a whole has over 3,500 cases of the infection. To deal with the challenges presented by the novel coronavirus pandemic, the National Judicial Council, NJC, has issued new guidelines all Nigerian courts are expected to operate with. In a press statement signed by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice I.T. Mohammed, the Council encouraged the maximal usage of provided court technology solutions and enjoined state government to provide the resources for state judiciaries to leverage the Nigeria Case Management System, NCMS. The new NJC guideline was noted by the Chief Justice to have been derivated of the report submitted by a committee headed by the Justice Olabode Rose-Vivo team. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, has handed over food and other support palliatives to the Ministry of Women Affairs to be distributed to the various vulnerable women groups under the ministry. The items include 1 truck of 50 kg bags of rice, 200 packs of macaroni, 50 bags of sugar, and 3 bales of 1,000 pieces of wrappers. The minister, while handing over the items, explained that women are among the most vulnerable group and the worst hit by the lockdown occasioned by COVID-19. She urged the Ministry of Women Affairs to ensure that the items get to the target audience. While receiving the palliatives, Minister of Women Affairs Pauline Talon commended the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs for their support to indigent families affected by the lockdown.
We are here today to hand over this palliative in terms of rice, 1 truck of rice of 600 bags, 50 kg, 200 packs of macaroni, 50 bags of sugar, and 3 bales of 100 pieces wrappers to your ministry, to you for onward distribution to the different women groups, vulnerable women groups that are under your care. So on behalf of Mr. President and the ministry, we hand over these palliatives to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Wonderful support to the needy and vulnerable women in our society. You'll agree with me that this lockdown and this COVID-19 has hit almost every family, and women are the most hit. Women have been carrying so much burden in the home because they are the caregivers. I spoke with you and I'm happy you've listened and reached out to us. We appreciate this gesture, and I want to assure you that we will distribute these items to the various women organizations for their most needy and most vulnerable in the society. I want to use this medium to call on all well-meaning Nigerians and women leaders who can afford, because some of us are blessed. We should be our brother's keepers. We should reach out to the needy to put smiles on them. If in every community we reach out to the needy, Nigeria will be a healthier place. It will be embarrassing for people to go out and look for food in dustbins, or to be crying of hunger when their next door neighbors have so much.
And a look at the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic on businesses and sectors in the country. Minister of Aviation Hadi Sirika says the coronavirus pandemic poses a threat that could see over 125,000 jobs lost in the aviation sector. Sirika, at the daily briefing of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, said the aviation sector has been dealt a severe blow by the pandemic, noting that airlines have lost nearly 17 billion naira monthly since their operations were grounded as part of efforts to curb the spread of the virus. He also said airlines will not be able to operate immediately the operation ban is lifted because of the many safety measures that must be followed. Sirika said, quote, "Those airplanes have been kept, and when we're going to bring them back into service, we will have to ensure that they are airworthy and that they can make those flights safely." United Nations says the coronavirus pandemic has unleashed, quote, "a tsunami of hate and xenophobia amongst nations, and is appealing for an all-out effort to end hate speech globally." The UN Secretary General Chief Antonio Guterres, who gave the charge, said the world must unite to defeat the pandemic. His comment came as China said it was always open to cooperate with the World Health Organization investigations into the origins of the novel coronavirus, as Donald Trump repeated claims that the outbreak originated in a Wuhan laboratory. Trump's claims, for which the U.S. is yet to provide evidence, have fueled tension between the two world superpowers and placed a crucial trade deal between the two countries in jeopardy.
COVID-19 does not care who we are, where we live, what we believe, or about any other distinction. We need every ounce of solidarity to tackle it together. Yet, the pandemic continues to unleash a tsunami of hate and xenophobia, scapegoating and scaremongering. Anti-foreigner sentiment has surged online and in the streets. Anti-Semitic conspiracy theories have spread, and COVID-19-related anti-Muslim attacks have occurred. Migrants and refugees have been vilified as a source of the virus and then denied access to medical treatment. With older persons among the most vulnerable, contemptible memes have emerged suggesting they are also the most expendable. And journalists, whistleblowers, health professionals, aid workers, and human rights defenders are being targeted simply for doing their jobs. We must act now to strengthen the immunity of our societies against the virus of hate. That is why I'm appealing today for an all-out effort to end hate speech globally. And I ask everyone, everywhere, to stand up against hate, treat each other with dignity, and take every opportunity to spread kindness.
Meanwhile, the World Health Organization, WHO, is encouraging countries across the world to utilize technology in managing the COVID-19 crisis in their respective states. In a video conference, the health body urged countries to develop and embrace mobile applications that will aid contact tracing and sensitization on the COVID-19 pandemic.
There are the apps that can help with contact tracing, and that's the many countries, the UK I think have just finished testing their app. What that app allows public health authorities to do is to, number one, potentially, and Korea have a similar application, is help with the tracing process. Once someone is sick, what would normally happen is they'd be tested and isolated. As part of that process, the public health authorities will ask them about who they've been in close contact with in the previous days. And that is a difficult process, remembering exactly who you spent a certain amount of time with in certain settings to see who the high-risk contacts might have been. A way to supplement that is to have an ability to use mobile phone technology that can actually remember, in a sense, for the person, because your mobile phone can remember who you were close to in the last number of days, and it can actually calculate how long you've been close to that person. So what it does is it provides an aid to memory for that process, and that can be very good. It can also be used to notify those contacts that they have been in contact with a confirmed case, which allows them to take appropriate action.
We will now shift focus to non-COVID-19 related topics after this break. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Supreme Court has nullified the judgment which convicted former governor of Abia State, Orji Uzor Kalu. A 7-man panel of the Apex Court also set aside the judgment which convicted Ude Udogu, a former director of finance and accountant at the Abia State Government House. The Supreme Court gave the judgment on Friday, more than 1 year after both men were convicted, or almost 1 year after both men were convicted of corruption allegations leveled against them by the federal government. Justice Mohammed Idris of the Federal High Court in Lagos had sentenced Kalu to 12 years imprisonment in his judgment that was delivered on April 24, 2019. He also sentenced Udogu to 10 years imprisonment. Reacting to the judgment, the EFCC says it is ready to rearrange the lawmaker.
7 justices of the Supreme Court, in a unanimous judgment, has affirmed in a unanimous judgment, allowed the appeal of Ude Jones Udog against the judgment of the Court of Appeal, wherein the Court of Appeal held that a justice of the Court of Appeal can go back to the Federal High Court to conclude a trial. And the Supreme Court just said today that no justice of the Court of Appeal is competent to return to the Federal High Court to conclude any matter.
They are not guilty of any offense, and they have never been tried for any offense. And as such, they are going to be released. That is the implication of this judgment. This will caution legislative tyranny. You know, you cannot pitch any statute against the provisions of the Constitution, and that statute will not stand.
It is the Supreme Court. There is nothing we can say. The Supreme Court is final. Whatever the decision of the Supreme Court is, everyone has to abide by it. We have to go back and sit down and review, then we'll take the decision.
Well, some Nigerian lawyers have asked President Muhammadu Buhari to reject 33 candidates recommended to him by the National Judicial Council, NJC, for appointment as High Court judges of the Federal Capital Territory. The lawyers, under the edges of Open Bar Initiative in a petition to President Buhari, said 17 of the NJC's nominees were not just unqualified, but that they were able to make the NJC's list because of their connection or family affiliation with top officials of the nation's judiciary. Among the nominees said to be unqualified for appointment as a judge in the petition is Hafsat Abba Aliyu, who is 42, and the daughter of Justice Uwani Abba Aji of the Nigerian Supreme Court. The Southwest Governors Forum has inaugurated the board of Odua Investments Limited. This was contained in a statement issued and signed by the Ondo State Information and Orientation Commissioner Donald Ojogo in Akure. Ojogo said that this was the thrust of a virtual meeting held on May 7, 2020 by the 6 governors presided over by the chairman Rotimi Odunayo Akeredolu, the governor of Ondo State. The new board, according to Ojogo, include the chairman Lawrence Olusegun Aina of Osun State, while other members are Segun Olujobi, Tola Kasali, Otumba Bimbo Ashiru, Segun Ojo, Seni Adio, and Ojogo said the governors will express confidence in the individual capabilities of the board members, said the choices were made after careful consideration of their wealth of experience and integrity. Well, the Defense Headquarters on Friday said troops of Operation Well-Stroke neutralized a militia leader in Benue State. GHQ disclosed this in a statement made available on its official Twitter page. It said the militia leader, identified as Terugwa Igbagwa alias Ojondu, is the second most wanted criminal kingpin next to Ghana in Benue State. The military command disclosed that the militia leader was neutralized during a raid operation on a criminal hideout of Zakibiam and Katsina Ala Highway. Well, we'll take a break here and bring you more stories on the business scene. Don't go away.
Shegun. Alpha, say tomorrow still day on.
What's your tomorrow?
Community meeting now.
You know they here, Abi?
Now beg you. See, if we meet for my house, inside parlor, then go no.
This COVID-19 is not a child's play.
If we want to elect a new secretary, we fit to
do one for WhatsApp, or for Skype, or even on Zoom. Or we just wait.
I will not negotiate
this social distancing. It is non-negotiable.
Not every infected person shows symptoms, but every infected person is contagious. Avoid large gatherings and self-isolate if you think you might have come in contact with a carrier. Your safety and the safety of others is in your hands.
This message is from the Akinfade Foundation in partnership with the National Orientation Agency with support from MacArthur Foundation.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the Go-To app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other Paper Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Welcome back. Let's now talk business with Oyin Adekunle. So Oyin, I understand that there is now a date for the commencement of the AfCFTA. Could you give us more details on that?
That's very true. The African Continental Free Trade Agreement, AfCFTA, is expected to commence from January 1st, 2021. Acting Chief Trade Negotiator and Director General, Nigerian Office for Trade Negotiations, Victor Liman, confirmed this on Thursday. Liman also revealed that the extraordinary Africa Union Summit scheduled to be held in South Africa on May 30, 2020, has been postponed to December 5, 2020. The AfCFTA was scheduled to kick off on July 1st, 2020, but was postponed due to the impact of coronavirus pandemic. Liman added that the new date will also give sufficient time for trade ministers and their experts to finalize negotiations and prepare adequately for the summits. We'll take a break here and return with Stock Market Review. The NSE witnessed its first sell-offs in the week today, with key market indicators falling by 1.27%. It was, however, a good week as the market, the all-share index, which opened at about 23,000, gained 956 points altogether to close at 24,045 basis points. Similarly, the bourse throughout the week saw an increase of about 659 billion naira, and the share price of Nigeria breweries rose in 3 sessions this week to close today at 37 naira and 50 kobo per share. Custodian PLC also witnessed positive trading, coming next to Nigeria breweries, of course, and GlaxoSmithKline and Zenith Bank also filled the 3rd and 4th spots on the gainers chart, respectively. But moving on now, we see MTN Nigeria started the week strong but closed in the negative territory today, losing 8 naira, and Guarantee Trust Bank also shed more losses today, while BUA Cement and Guinness also shed 70 kobo in their share prices. And in summary, over 431 million units of shares were traded, and that came up to 5.2 billion naira at the close of trading today. And that's it from here. It's back to you now, Fidelia.
Well, thank you very much, Oyin, for that update. Indeed, all good things must come to an end. So we hope for better weeks, for better days, actually, for the stock market next week. Well, let's now move to the foreign scene. The father and the son have been arrested and charged in the U.S. state of Georgia for the fatal shooting of Ahmaud Arbery, an unarmed black man who was shot dead while he was out for a run in February. The charges came days after a mobile phone video that captured the 25-year-old's killing just outside the city of Brunswick went viral, triggering a nationwide outcry. Gregory McMichael, age 64, and Travis McMichael, age 34, were detained on Thursday by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. In a police report, Gregory McMichael said he saw Arbery and believed he resembled the suspect in a series of break-ins in that area. The Bureau said the father and son had confronted Aubrey with 2 firearms, and it was the younger McMichael who shot and killed him. Both men are jailed on charges of murder and aggravated assault. The Nigeria Football Federation has announced a 30,000 naira monthly stipend for the mothers of ex-international Sam Okwaraji and Rashid Yakini. The NFF made the announcement via Twitter on Thursday. The Federation admitted that they were making the move following the recent initiatives taken by the Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dare, who approved a 10,000 naira monthly stipend for Yakini's mother during the 8-year remembrance of the football legend. The NFF also revealed that it will review the condition of surviving mothers of former internationals that died in active service and decide what to give to them monthly. And that's it on News Now. Many thanks for joining us. I am Fidelia Aguncha. Bye for now.